What if I told you that the endless storm inside your head, the one that keeps you awake at night, the one that replays the same scene over and over again, could be calmed in just 10 minutes? What if overthinking, that constant cycle of doubt and worry, wasn't a prison but a doorway, one you can step through, starting right now? Most people believe overthinking is a sign of intelligence, that if you just analyze more, you'll eventually find peace. But here's the truth. Overthinking doesn't bring peace. It steals it. It doesn't give clarity. It blurs it. And yet, the good news is this. You already have the power to silence it. Think about how many times you've been paralyzed by choice. A simple text message left unanswered. An opportunity you didn't take. A conversation you never started. All because your mind built 1,000 possible outcomes, 1,000 what-ifs, and none of them ever came true. Overthinking has a way of making you live everywhere except in the moment. You're stuck between the past you can't change and the future you can't predict, and in that space, life quietly slips away. So why do we overthink? Psychologists say it's a defense mechanism. Your brain is trying to protect you from pain by running endless simulations. It wants to find the perfect move, the safe option. But here's the paradox. In trying to protect you, it hurts you more. The mind becomes a spinning wheel that never touches the ground. You think you're solving problems, but really, you're just feeding the cycle. Now, imagine breaking that cycle in 10 minutes. Not by suppressing your thoughts, not by forcing silence, but by shifting the way you relate to them. Overthinking thrives when you treat every thought as truth. It dies when you learn to simply observe. Picture this. A thought appears in your mind. What if I fail? And instead of wrestling with it, you step back and say, interesting. There's that thought again. Suddenly, you've created distance. You're no longer drowning in the storm. You're watching it from the shore. This is where the power begins. Because once you see thoughts as just passing clouds, you no longer need to chase them, fight them, or build stories around them. And the moment you stop feeding them, they dissolve. It's not about control. It's about perspective. One of the quickest ways to do this is through the 10-minute reset. Right now, imagine setting a timer for 10 minutes. For those 10 minutes, your only job is to breathe and notice. Not to stop your thoughts, not to judge them, but to notice. Breathe in slowly, breathe out slowly, and when a thought comes, because it will, you label it gently. Worry, memory, fear, plan. And then you return to your breath. That's it. 10 minutes of stepping out of the endless movie in your head. 10 minutes of anchoring back into the present. You might be thinking, that sounds too simple. But simplicity is exactly what makes it powerful. Overthinking thrives on complexity, on spirals, on tangles. But the mind can't spiral if you keep bringing it back to one simple act, breathing. And the best part? This is something you can do anywhere. At your desk, in your car, lying in bed at night. 10 minutes to reset, 10 minutes to reclaim peace. Let's go deeper. Overthinking doesn't just happen because of the present moment. Often, it's rooted in the past. The mistake you made last year. The words you wish you hadn't said. Or it's tied to the future. The fear of rejection. The uncertainty of tomorrow. Your mind jumps endlessly between these two timelines, but it never lands here in the now. The cure for overthinking is not to fix the past or to predict the future. It's to return to the present again and again until your brain learns that here is enough. The truth is, overthinking is just a habit. And like any habit, it can be unlearned. Think about how often you've walked into a room and automatically reached for your phone. You didn't decide to do it. The habit carried you there. Overthinking works the same way. The moment a challenge arises, your brain slips into the familiar loop. But every time you catch yourself, every time you notice and return to presence, you weaken the loop. You rewire your brain. Here's something most people don't realize. Thoughts are not commands. They're not reality. They're just suggestions. Your brain produces thousands of thoughts every single day, and most of them vanish unnoticed. The only ones that gain power are the ones you feed with attention. Overthinking is like watering weeds. You don't mean to, but you do, and then they take over the garden. The secret is to stop watering. Notice the weeds, acknowledge them, but don't feed them. Turn your attention to the flowers, the thoughts that bring calm, gratitude, clarity. This doesn't mean ignoring your problems. It means facing them with clarity instead of fear. When you stop overthinking, you don't lose your ability to analyze. You gain the ability to act. Instead of spinning for hours about whether to make a call, you just make it. Instead of debating for days about whether to take the chance, you take it. Overthinking robs you of action. Clarity gives it back. And clarity doesn't take years of meditation or therapy to achieve. Sometimes, it takes just 10 minutes. 10 minutes of awareness, 10 minutes of breathing, 10 minutes of choosing to step outside the mental storm. That is the doorway. And the moment you step through it, you begin to see just how much of your life was being drained by thoughts that never needed your attention in the first place. You see, overthinking thrives in uncertainty. The less clarity you have about your choices, your identity, or your direction, the more space your mind has to spin endless possibilities. It builds castles of fear and towers of doubt, trapping you inside a labyrinth of your own imagination. But there's something you must realize. Your thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations, stories, projections, and often distortions. When you start treating every thought as a truth, you hand over your power. And that is why the practice of questioning your thoughts is so liberating. Ask yourself, is this thought absolutely true? Can I be certain beyond any doubt? What if the opposite were true? By interrogating your own mental stories, you weaken their grip. What once felt like an unshakable reality is revealed as nothing more than a shadow play in the mind. Another way to break free from overthinking is to shift your focus from outcome to process. People overthink because they fear what might happen. They want guarantees, certainty, perfect answers. But life does not deal in guarantees. It deals in probabilities, risks, and opportunities. If you can accept that no path is without uncertainty, then overthinking loses its fuel. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You can ask, what small step can I take right now? Action dissolves rumination. The moment you take a step forward, however small, you disrupt the endless cycle of mental spinning. Progress, even imperfect progress, creates clarity. But here is the paradox. Stopping overthinking is not about controlling every thought. It is about letting go of control. The harder you fight against your mind, the louder it becomes. Silence comes not from force, but from release. Imagine holding water tightly in your hands. It slips through your fingers. But when you open your palms, it rests gently. This is the nature of the mind. Stop wrestling with it, and you will find it softening naturally. That is why mindfulness practices, breathing exercises, and meditation have such profound effects. They do not erase thoughts. They teach you to observe them without judgment, without grasping. Overthinking starves when you stop feeding it attention. Let's do a simple practice together. Close your eyes, if you can. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Now repeat this cycle 3 times. As you breathe, notice any thought that arises. Do not chase it, do not fight it. Simply label it, thought, and return to your breath. This is how you train the mind to step away from endless loops. With regular practice, this becomes second nature. You learn to see thoughts as passing clouds, not as chains that bind you. Overthinking also often stems from perfectionism. You want the perfect answer, the flawless decision, the guaranteed path. But perfection is an illusion. There is no perfect life, no perfect choice. Every decision carries gain and loss, light and shadow. When you release the burden of perfection, you free yourself to move forward. Growth comes not from avoiding mistakes, but from embracing them. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the soil in which success grows. The sooner you accept imperfection as part of life, the less your mind will torment you with endless what-ifs. There is another key, self-trust. Overthinking often comes from doubting yourself. You fear making the wrong choice because you don't trust that you can handle the outcome. But when you build self-trust, even uncertainty feels less threatening. You begin to realize, no matter what happens, I will find a way through. Self-trust is not about always being right. It is about knowing you will survive even when you are wrong. And the truth is, you have survived every challenge so far. You are here. You are still standing. That is proof of your resilience. Every scar on your journey is evidence that you can endure more than you realize. Now, let me leave you with a powerful image. Imagine your thoughts as a crowded marketplace, voices shouting from every corner. At first, it feels overwhelming. But suddenly, you climb a nearby tower and look down. The noise is still there, but you are no longer lost inside it. You can see the whole picture. You realize you have a choice: to walk through the marketplace, to leave it, or simply to observe. That tower is awareness. The higher you climb, the less trapped you become. Overthinking thrives when you forget that tower exists. But the truth is, it is always within you. So, when your mind begins to race again, remember this. Pause, breathe, shift your focus to the present, and remind yourself that not every thought deserves your attention. Life is happening now, not in the imaginary future, not in the replayed past, but here, in this very breath. Now I want to hear from you. What strategies have helped you calm your overthinking mind? Do you notice it happening most at night, at work, or in your relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read your experiences, and you might help someone else who feels trapped in their thoughts. Remember this: freedom from overthinking is not about emptying your mind. It is about reclaiming your power to choose what you focus on. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them, the one who decides which ones matter. Take back that power, and your life will change in ways you cannot imagine. If this video has resonated with you, let it be a turning point. Stop letting thoughts rule you. Step into the role of observer, creator, and decision-maker. Life is too short to spend it lost in the fog of endless what-ifs. Choose clarity. Choose peace. Choose action. And if this message sparked something within you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, so together we can continue exploring the path toward inner freedom and a calmer, stronger mind.